Thank you for joining us. This is Business Incorporated coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwagu. On the program today, Nigeria's inflation slows to 17.24% in April from 17.26% in March. Vodafone's South Africa arm Vodacom takes over $2.6 billion stake in Kenya's Safaricom. Plus, African Export-Import Bank to invest up to $500 million in Gambia. Let's get started, and starting off here in Nigeria, where the Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, dropped marginally to 17.24% in April from 17.26% in March. This is the third consecutive month of a decline in the headline CPI rate, exhibiting effects of some easing in already high food and non-food prices, as well as some favorable base effects over 2016 prices. The top items to have recorded the highest year-on-year increases across all the divisions were solid fuels, bread and cereals, meat, liquid fuels and clothing materials. Year-on-year, the food sub-index climbed from 18.44% in March to 19.30% in April. The Statistics Office attributes the increase to a rise in prices of food items, including bread, cereals, meat, fish and tubers. The urban index declined to 17.62% year-on-year in April from 18.27% recorded in March, while the rural index increased to 16.69% year-on-year in April from 16.47% in March. And to the markets now, and here in Africa, Egypt continues to outperform its peers, rising 0.48% at intraday. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange was also up at intraday, 0.19%. However, here in Nigeria, profit-taking continues to weigh the market as the all-share index remains subdued, down 0.19% at midday. Kenya closed flat on Monday. In the Middle East, the Dubai-listed builder Drake & Scroll plummeted in response to its first quarter results, while Dubai real estate firm Damac jumped on news that MSCI would add it to an index in otherwise largely flat Gulf markets. At intraday, the Dubai index was down 0.03%. Banking shares were some of the top gainers in neighboring Abu Dhabi, helping lift the index 0.39%. Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank was up 1.9%. In Saudi Arabia, the index barely moved after 50 minutes of trade as 67 shares advanced and 59 fell. The index was trading high at by 0.63% at intraday. Qatar's index was flat, with declining shares outnumbering rising ones by 9-6. However, the index was looking green, 0.07% at intraday. And in Europe, investors have continued to weigh global security concerns and digest the latest batch of corporate earnings. Let's talk to Daniel Coop, DWTV Channels TV financial correspondent there in Frankfurt, for details. Good afternoon, Daniel. Thank you very much for joining us. It's another beautiful day. Our Eurozone first quarter GDP came in higher, 0.5%, meeting forecasts. Is this economic data driving the market this day?
Well, probably, Chimmy, when I'm talking to you, I have been reporting a lot about new records here at the blue chip index DAX. And again, I hope you're not getting tired of this, I can actually report another record. Today, the blue chip index DAX reached, after those very promising numbers of the European economy, a new high with 12,834 points today. And this is actually happening. You can see it in the background. The trading day actually didn't start that optimistic here in the morning after we got the news that car sales are actually dropping down with 6.5%. So the shares of automobile companies were not really being successfully traded today. The numbers of the growing of the Eurozone is actually very interesting because they're actually twice as high as the growing in the first quarter of the United States. there is actually one candidate here in the Eurozone that's giving a little bit the European Union some trouble. That is Italy. The growing of Italy is not as strong when you compare this to other European countries, with just growing of 0.2%. Also, we'll have elections coming up in Italy, either by the end of the year or happening next year. And Italy is also one of the countries where we see kind of this movement of political parties toward, skeptical European issues. So we are monitoring this closely. Also, the euro was, after this news, very strong today, with actually the highest mark with 1.10 today.
Well, I guess some of those details you have outlined there seem to be exciting investors looking at the DAX movement behind you there. Now let's look at the meeting between German Chancellor Angela Merkel and the newly elected French President Emmanuel Macron on Monday evening. Any idea of what they discussed?
Well, the meeting that took place yesterday at the German White House, that's the office of Angela Merkel in Berlin, was a very friendly meeting. She greeted him with military honors. She was even touching his shoulder, not kissing him, though, as she did with President Hollande in the past. But, it was this first getting to know each other. They both pointed out that for the European Union, it's very important to see a strong German and French relationship. Macron also said that he's in favor of a joint financial politics in the Eurozone. He always pointed out that he thinks it's important that Europe might even have a finance minister for the entire Eurozone. Angela Merkel seemed to be very open to his ideas. She also pointed out, even though she's that long in office, she wants to have this relationship with him where, she is not seen as the all politician with all knowledge, basically. So in general, it was a very good and friendly meeting taking place yesterday in Berlin.
Now, away from politics there, let's look at the last batch of corporate earnings trickling in today. Talk us through the figures of budget airline EasyJet and telco giant Vodafone.
Yeah, Vodafone and EasyJet came out with earning reports today, and I can tell you from the investors' points, both of those reports were disappointing. EasyJet has lots of problems right now. Usually the first quarter for airlines is always very difficult because in winter passengers tend to travel less. But actually, when you compare the loss EasyJet has created this year compared to last year, it's actually 13 times higher, and that's a pretty big number. There are two reasons behind this. On the one hand, EasyJet had to go even more down with ticket prices. They are already a low-cost carrier with cheap tickets. I actually looked up their website a little bit earlier. They are offering fares right now from Germany to the United Kingdom for as low as 30 euros. When you compare this, for example, with Lufthansa, they are offering tickets for at least 100 euros. So, of course, there's always this question how a company like EasyJet can make profit with those low ticket prices. On the other hand, EasyJet is a company based in the United Kingdom. The pound has been struggling after the Brexit announcement, which makes everything more expensive for EasyJet. So that's why they're not performing well right now. Vodafone, on the other hand, with a 6 billion loss also reported. The reason behind this is actually their Indian division. They are very big in the Indian market. Vodafone, by the way, is the second world largest telephone company in the world, and the Indian division is giving Vodafone some headache right now because there's a new telephone company that was actually opened and installed by one of the richest men in the world, Mukesh Ambani, and that telephone company has very competitive prices that Vodafone just doesn't have any chance to compete with.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Daniel. I have to let you go now. Enjoy the rest of the day.